you through that because there were some really fascinating thoughts in there. We do have some questions, so I'll go straight to them, just conscious of time. We've got about 12 minutes to go through them. So I'll start in the order which they came through, if that's okay. So the first one was for Catalin. So if I could ask Aswin for you to stop sharing your screen and for all of the presenters to turn their cameras on, great. So yeah, Catalin, the first question was for you, and it was, how do you engage, award and motivate your student ambassadors?
Yes, thank you for the questions. As we experienced, our students ambassadors are really enthusiastic students, so they are coming without any rewards so they are just applying in a quite high number. But we organize for them, if we have the possibility, trainings on how to be a student ambassador, what would be their tasks, and also we are planning to organize them trainings on, for example, writing skills or social media skills and things like that. These are long-term plans, and also we give them a certificate after finishing the student ambassador program, which they can use for applying, for example, Erasmus mobilities, or they can put it in their CVs if they wish. And also in the last semester, we organized them online programs like quiz games and things like that, because usually we organize them offline programs, like we had a farewell party for them when they finished. And we had one time we went to the water sport complex of the university and rode together, so it was fun. These kind of things. We don't have that many students now because it's kind of in a starting phase, this program. We have it for a couple of years, but not with so many students. So it can be handled like this.
Great, thanks, Katalin. Sounds very engaging. On to the second question. So the second question was for me. It was, marketing and commercial are terms that are often perceived as being unacademic. How do you convince your internal stakeholders and get them to see the added value it brings? I think it's a good question, and I think specifically for me, there's a number of dimensions to it. The first one is that I operate in the kind of UK sector, and I think it's a lot more marketized than other sectors, other kind of regions and countries. So I think there is already an understanding of the kind of commercial focus of higher education. Secondly, the institution that I work for is less reliant on kind of research for funding and more reliant on tuition fees, essentially. So there is a general understanding with the academic staff that it's a big part of our financial stability is student recruitment, and therefore we do need to have a focus on kind of marketing in a commercial sense. And the third one specifically to my university is that our Vice Chancellor is a marketing professor. So very fortunate in that respect, in that she has a complete understanding of what we're trying to achieve and has been able to advocate that to other colleagues as well. So that's really helped get everyone on board, and I think that's not always been the case in other institutions that I've worked for. Thank you for the question. I will move on to the next question, which was to all panelists, and Daisy, perhaps you can take this one. Have the action plans of branding and advertising had positive results in terms of student enrolment? Can you speak to that one, Daisy?
Yes. Wait. Sorry, can you repeat that question again? I'm trying to find it as well, that I can read it maybe at the same
no problem.
time.
It was, have the action plans of branding and advertising had positive results in terms of student enrollment? So I guess it's just, you know, have the activities that you were describing in your presentations had a positive impact, and have you been able to measure that impact?
Yeah, so that's what I also mentioned already in my presentation. At the moment, we actually have no idea yet what the end result will be of all our actions. We don't know yet how many students in the end will enroll at our university, because there are still so many factors in place. Of course, we hope so, and we tried out many things that we just hope that we can use in the future as well. And we are just checking now the return on investment once we also have the amount of enrollments and see which students actually enrolled. If we would see that definitely we have more European students from the EA, then we do know that definitely all our actions now must have had some impact, because we were completely focusing now on them.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I'd kind of echo that in terms of the experience that I've had, and I think that whilst things are looking positive, and there's obviously lots of different stages during the recruitment cycle, and engagement's been strong, applications have been strong. It's really the kind of enrolment that we need to keep an eye on, and that's the bit that we're, you know, fingers crossed and watching every day in terms of what's happening with the pandemic. Great, thank you, Daisy. That's really useful. And then on to the last question that I can see that's come through, which is for you, Aswin. So it's specifically around TikTok as a channel. A really interesting question, actually. So TikTok turned quite popular during the lockdown. Is that a social media channel that you considered to include in your strategy as an alternative to the more common recruitment strategies, especially for prospective students in the age bracket of 18 to 24-year-olds, as they're the ones that use that channel the most?
Yes, we've received these questions in house as well. Many people asking, why are we not on TikTok? I've created an account and I've been studying this. Right now, I'm very uncomfortable with this platform because it's really, I don't know if you go there, it's really not I don't feel that it's a, how do I say, a safe environment there. And I'm not sure people are there to, the quality of the content share is very poor, I believe, in terms of intellectual. And it's more to have fun, and it's really getting, if you type on the news, it's getting really pornographic, and you have stuff that are not very social media friendly, I would say, as we would say, well, as we would want social media to be positive, etc. I feel that it's a really negative channel. Right now, I've told at the universities that I don't want to go with TikTok, but we keep this studying. And we know that Instagram introduced Reels, which is a bit a competitor of TikTok, which has not gone up yet, but they did it with Snapchat. And I believe that Facebook and Instagram are working to make things better. And as I said, with Instagram is already something that is very difficult to produce content, etc. It's very time consuming. And TikTok, I think, to produce content will be even more difficult, and you need more resources. Hope it answered the question.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I was having a problem unmuting myself. Just there is one follow-up question, but just for me to add some kind of perspective on TikTok. My university did use that for the first time this year as an advertising channel. So we don't have an account and we don't post organically, but we have been using it to advertise to students. And from a brand awareness point of view, it's been extraordinarily successful. We've had much wider reach than we would on other social media channels. It's not really a kind of direct response channel. So if you want someone to kind of click and apply, then obviously there's the way that the kind of channel works doesn't really lend itself to that. But in terms of just gaining exposure to a large audience, it has had some positive impact. The follow-up question, I think, again, this would be to you, Aswin, but any views from Catalin or Daisy as well, welcome. What channels do you use to attract Chinese students? Do you use Weibo, WeChat, etc.?
Should I go?
Yeah, Aswin, yeah, if that is an area that you're involved in.
No, we don't have specific channels for Chinese students, so we don't use Weibo or WeChat either. So
okay.
Someone else can reply.
Daisy or Catalin, any other views?
Yeah, I could say something about that. We have a landing page as well that's partly in Chinese. We definitely use WeChat for students, but also for alumni. So, because again, we really want to focus on interacting with alumni because they're great ambassadors. And we do see when we survey our students, about 20% of all our international students actually heard about our university through ambassadors. And on top of that, let me think. Oh, definitely partner universities. I think we have some really good partner universities, and through those relationships, we get quality students. So that's something that we really focus on, and that's a way that we attract Chinese students.
Great, thank you, Daisy. And I think with 2 minutes to spare, that concludes all of this session. So thank you to Aswin, to Katalin, to Daisy, for your input. Thank you everyone for your questions as well. I think some really interesting themes have come out of both sessions. I think particularly this one, it's great to see how other institutions have been responding positively. And I think really there's a lot that we can all take away in terms of the opportunities that there are for us in these uncertain times. And it's really reassuring from my perspective to see that so many institutions are looking at adapting and changing and looking at ways to thrive. So on that note, I'll thank the panel again and hand back to Jon for the conclusions of the meeting.
Okay, thanks a lot, David. This was great. Dear UNICA friends, to me this was very fruitful and educating, and this fully online experiment really resulted in great content and brilliant delivery from all of those doing lectures here today. The total package was recorded. There's a little red dot showing recording, meaning that access will be to the stuff just a little later for those that need to go to a certain page in the past and learn some great practical things, again, just to get further into details. I loved seeing a lot of new names. I didn't see all the faces though, as it was an online crowd. And of course, it's a great pleasure to see names from those that I met in previous conferences. I loved a lot seeing the guy that is still obvious, Aswin Luciana, true to his colors, yellow. It's the brand of his delivery, and that's how he is drawing attention to his team of skilled social media specialists. And this reminds us of the importance of corporation identity and the significance of colors and standing out in the crowd, so being different. So Aswin is a really cool example of that. So we are branding ourselves, so this is important of noticing these things. So he's blasting with the yellow color, and here today we have seen how important it is to be flexible. And just now I thought of a song that was very popular, probably a decade ago or something. It was written by British, I think she's British, Corinne Bailey Rae, and I don't know if you know the song. It's called "Put Your Records On," and she sings these brilliant words that I refer sometimes to them. The more things seem to change, the more they stay the same. And it's a really cool paradox, but in real, we have been having extremely limited quantity of the same, at least for quite a while, mostly just the change. And what does it mean? It means that we need to be able to adapt constantly to the changes. It's vital being able to transform according to the needs of the market. Now we have external forces demanding us to change. And it is a matter of existence for us in the universities as for all other businesses. And to me, changes have probably rarely been as tangible as now through COVID-19. And flexibility, there are two things generally that are considered to be very important. It's being flexible and being strong. And these are kind of what is it called in English? They are not the same. It's on each different poles, and but things. These are the huge important elements for everything. And just look at the airplanes that we didn't have in the sky for quite a while, but now we are seeing them fly again. That's how intense changes can be. But the wing of the airplane shows us how important it is to be strong and flexible at the same time. So this is how we need to be. I want to thank all of you for being with us. It's a real record number of participants in an event for the UNICA Comms Group. I want to thank all of those sharing their knowledge, and to those that put enormous efforts in preparing this event and making it possible. We might have more and shorter educational events coming up later this winter. We will look into that in the light of the success of this event. And but we will definitely have an event in real life as soon as possible, and I look really forward to meeting you all in person. And yeah, is there anything more to say? Yeah, dear UNICA family, why not have in mind the line from the Nobel Prize winner Robert Zimmerman, better known as Bob Dylan? Times, they are changing. So thanks a lot, thank you very much, and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.